Hello everyone, it's Tracy. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks very much for joining me. Today I'm doing the assembly tutorial for the Coffee Percolator. This project has been designed by Nicole's husband, Ben Silhouette, and I shall link Nicole's YouTube channel in the description box below. The Coffee Percolator is available only as a digital cutting file in Nicole's Etsy store, and I shall link that in the description box below. I have all the pieces cut out here and I'll go through them with you now. So here are the pieces, and the main pieces we'll be talking about first are the pieces that make up the lid of the percolator, and that's these two pieces here. And you can see where I've gone ahead and put the double-sided tape on the glue tabs, as I'm indicating here. Both pieces are the same. The first folding we do is mountain folding, and then the first score line on the lid is a mountain fold, and the second one that's just underneath it, where I'm pointing to here, is a valley fold. You'll fold that up, and it's going to create a bit of a zigzag shape on the lid, which I'll show you now. You can see it will look like this zigzag shape, and you'll do that to both pieces. And for the handle, I've got this little piece here that I got from AliExpress. You could use anything that you liked. Next up, we'll talk about the pieces for the top of the percolator. There are two that are identical, and you can see I've folded along the score lines and put the double-sided tape on the glue tabs. Then there's the base piece that goes on the bottom of it. Then we have the bottom part of the percolator, and it has the finger grips to slide out the gift box. Again, I've put the double-sided tape on the glue tabs, and I have the top piece that goes on the top. These next two pieces go inside the base as the gift box. This is the bottom of it. I'll show you a bit more about that later. Then we have the pieces that make up the handle and the decorative layers that I've cut from black mirror board. And for the other pieces, I have cut from silver mirror board. And then we have the piece that makes up the spout. And you can see where I've folded and put the double-sided tape on the glue tabs. So we'll get started now and we'll put this together, and we're going to start with the lid first. And I've got all my bits and pieces here. I'm just getting my pokey tool, and I'm going to remove the backings of the adhesive and join these two shapes together, taking care here to line this up as precisely as I can before pressing it into place. And then the other side, I'll take the backings off the glue tab, and you'll notice that this will take a bit of a cone shape, and that's normal. Just lining it up and pressing it into place. Then I'm going to take the backings off the little glue tabs that are all the way around. You can do it one at a time if you like, but I've jumped right in here and I'm just going to take them all off at once. Once I have all of the backings off, I'm going to start joining these pieces together to form the rest of the shape of the lid. I'll just wipe away all the mess. And then I'm going to take my time here and line these up as precisely as I can. So I'm just working my way around here, joining those tabs to the pieces next to them. And you will see that the lid will start to take shape. I'm just making sure everything's going together nicely. And you can see that that's our lid. I'm just making sure that all the folds are working properly and the lid is the right shape. And you can see now what we have. Just making sure that I'm happy with how everything's looking. Then I'm going to take this little piece here and I'm going to glue it on the top for the handle of the lid. And I'm just going to use my hot glue gun for this. You could use a brad, you could use a wooden bead, you could use anything really. I'm just making sure that that's in good position and I'm happy with it. And that's the lid of our percolator done. So I'm going to put that to the side now, and I'm going to move on to the rest of the percolator. And I've got the pieces here for the top, and I'm going to put the top together. I'm just going to join the sides together first, lining it up, making sure that it's straight and even. Press it down, and then I'm going to close this shape up, and then make sure that that's lining up nicely, and press that down also. And before we move into putting the 10-sided shape piece onto the bottom that I'm showing here, it's a good idea now to fit this lid. Without having the bottom on this shape, we can fit the lid a little bit more precisely. It is a snug fit because it's going to be the lid of a gift box. And you don't want it just falling off once you've put your goodies inside. This may take a little bit of finagling, but not having the bottom on, it will assist in giving you a little bit of stretch room, you could say. So that the cardstock has room to stretch before you close up the bottom of this shape. And I recommend doing it this way so you can get the best fit for your lid. So I'm just making sure that this is going on and that I'm happy with it. You've also got access from the bottom to be able to make sure this is in place nicely. I'm just checking to make sure that everything's looking nice and there's nothing buckled inside. And then I'm going to put the 10-sided shape in place onto the bottom. And I'm going to take one of the glue tabs here, put one in place first, make sure that gets a good hold. Then I'm going to go to the opposite side and put that one in place. And then I'll do the left and the right side, or the right and the left, whichever. Sort of like a north, south, east, west, or a 12, 6, 3 and 9. And doing it this way ensures that this piece goes into position very precisely without it being wonky. So I'm just working my way around, filling in the gaps, or closing up the gaps I should say, to put this piece in place. It can be a little bit tricky trying to get in underneath because parts of it are already sealed, sorry. But if you've got a pokey tool or a scalpel or something like that, that always works too. So I'm just checking to make sure I've got all of the edges stuck down. And that's the top of our percolator coming along. So I'm just going to leave the lid in place for now so that the paper gets a good memory of how it's supposed to sit, and the lid will be able to move on and off quite easily. But I'll check that again later. So now I'm moving on to the bottom part of the percolator, and you can tell this is the bottom because of the finger holes that you will use to slide the gift box that goes inside it in and out. And I'm just joining that together in exactly the same way that I did the top of the percolator. And I'm going to put the top piece on in exactly the same way. Attach by one glue tab first, then go to the opposite side, stick that one in down, and then do the right side, and then do the left side, and then go back and do all the ones in between. And that will ensure that piece is in position as precisely as it can be without being wonky. So I'm just closing up the rest of them, making sure that they're all sealed up. And that's the bottom of our percolator. Just making sure those tabs are all stuck down. Then we'll move on to the little gift box that goes inside, and this goes together in exactly the same way. I'm joining the two sides together, closing up the shape, and the largest 10-sided shape is the bottom of this gift box, and this will go into position in exactly the same way. One tab first, over to the opposite side, and then the right side and the left side, and then I'll fill them all in between. Exactly what I did for the top, the bottom, and now this little gift box. Of course I've sped the footage up here, but you need to take your time when you're putting this together so that things will be as precise as possible. Like I said, it can get a bit tricky getting those backings off, but the pokey tool is very helpful. You can do the same thing with a scalpel. So that's the little gift box that goes inside. Finished. I'm just checking to make sure I've got all of the glue tabs. Press them all down. And then I'll show you that it fits inside the bottom of the percolator very nicely. And it will go on top like so. But before I stick that on, I'm going to put the handle on and the spout on. So I'm just going to take the lid off now so that I can work on putting the handle in place. Before I put the handle on, I'm going to stick the decorative layers in place. And because I've used a mirror board on both of these pieces, I'm using double-sided tape to stick them down. Otherwise, glue would just get very messy and take a long time to dry. So I'm just making sure that I've got all these backings off, and then I'll stick it into place. So just putting this last decorative layer into position onto the handle, and then we'll affix it to the side of the percolator. So the pieces go together like this, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue down the bottom here and just glue that together. That's optional, you don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I think that it looks nice like that. Then I'm going to take the backings off this part here and attach this to the side of the top of the percolator. So I'm just getting this into the right orientation of how I want it, and I'm going to stick it to the one of these flat side pieces. I wouldn't put it over one of the pointy edges, that would not work very well at all. So just against one of the flat sides here, I'm just eyeballing it, making sure it's straight, and that's our handle. Then I'm going to get the spout, take the backings off the side pieces of, the glue tabs, and I'm going to put this into position on the exact opposite side as to where I put the handle. Again, I'm just eyeballing it, making sure it's central on that part before sticking it down. And this goes pretty much at that top edge. Just pressing down to make sure that the glue on the glue tabs is getting a hold. Although it's not glue, it's double-sided tape. Just making sure that it's stuck down nicely. Then I pop the lid back on. You can see that it goes on nicely. And then we'll stick it onto the bottom part of the percolator. So I went ahead and put double-sided tape on both pieces, both the bottom of the top and the top of the bottom, as I'm showing here. I'm going to take the backings off and stick these two pieces together. And the reason why I'm using double-sided tape is, again, it's mirror board, glue will take too long to dry and it'll slip. So I'm just checking there to make sure I'm happy with the orientation of where those finger holes are going to be. It doesn't matter where you put them. And then I'm just going to attach the top of the percolator onto the bottom of the percolator. And I'm going to remove the gift box from the bottom and then press really hard from the inside on both sides there against each other so that the glue gets a good hold, or the double-sided tape I should say. Just pressing, making sure it's getting a good stick. Then I'll put the gift box back in and stick the lid back on. And now that the lid has been on and off a couple of times, it is easier to take on and off the top of the percolator. But it still remains nice and snug also, for when you put your goodies inside, they won't fall out. And I'm giving you a look here of the finished percolator, and I love the way this has turned out. It looks so realistic, like a metal one. And that's with using the silver mirror board. And Ben has done a lovely job of designing this. And it was very easy to put together too. I love how it's got two areas that you could use as a gift box. You've got the bottom that comes out and you could put things in there. And also the top. You can take the lid off and put more gifts inside. Great for coffee related presents to give to a coffee loving friend. Coming up at the end of the tutorial, I have pictures of how I decorated my coffee percolator. I also made a couple of cups to go with this coffee percolator, and I need to let you know, and so that you are aware, that the coffee cups are not a part of the digital cutting file for the coffee percolator. They are completely separate. So that's my tutorial finished for today. I hope you've enjoyed watching and that you feel inspired to make one of these coffee percolators. They're not that difficult to make, and you could decorate this in so many different ways. Don't forget to check the description box down below for the links that I've previously mentioned, and if you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would really love that too. Thanks very much for watching today. Have a great day, and until next time, it's bye for now.